Welcome to From Head to Heart and Home. We're happy to have you here listening in on our conversation today. This is a channel created by women for women, empowering you to take intentional action in creating the life that you want with your hosts, Carla Center, subconscious healer, and myself, Shanda Soretti, certified coach. So, Carla, today we are talking about energy blocks. Okay. So, I think we're going to open up a whole can of worms here, which I'm really excited about because I know that this is one of your zen zones, you know what I mean? This is one of your mega influences. So, I'm excited to see what we pull out and tease out in today's episode. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So I'm excited too because we have for so long been very much about how our bodies are just this solid thing and everything is, I don't know, we're creating reality and we don't really pay attention to the energy. And if any of you have seen the diagrams that have the body and then there's this big funnel, that is our grid. Um, our Taurus field. It's we have all this energy that's around us, in us. We are energy, and it gets stuck.
Mm.
We get stuck. We end up with physical manifestations because of it. We end up feeling like no matter how hard we try, we can't get out of that spot we're in, which Shannon and I talk about a lot because we do feel stuck, right? And we have energy just like stuck in just certain places because of different things that have happened in our life, and we haven't been able to release the energy. So I'm super excited because yes, that's what I do. I take you in, we find where it's stuck, we release it and let you feel free, right, of that thing. And it's the same thing as if you've studied any of the chakra system, all of it. It's the energy gets stuck, you get stagnant. And really, I'm excited because Shanda has great ways to release it too, and we get to share with you because nothing feels worse than feeling stuck, and
Right.
that's your stuck energy.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of stuck, I think that is the very key to unlocking this freedom that you're talking about, right? Because when we feel stuck, it's a direct correlation to that blocked energy,
Mhm.
right? So it's about finding, first of all, there's an area, a specific area in your body where the energy, right? Or the chi, whatever you want to call it, the flow is stuck. So a key, or yeah, the key to unlocking and figuring out where it is to tuning into your body. And something that I like to do and lead my clients through as well, Carla, is like a body scan, right? So we start from top to bottom, and there's a little meditation that I usually walk them through, but you could just do this on your own too, just sitting in a room where you scan from top to bottom and you start to really tune into any sensations that you're feeling in your body, right? And specifically any areas that feel tension or tight, right? Those are the areas where these blockages are. And what I find so fascinating is that when we can tap into this specific area, we can then start to ask questions to gain insight and some answers as to what the tension or blockage is about, right? So we can start to create some spaciousness and some room in there by asking really important questions. And the second thing that I love about this is, like you were saying, we both have many modalities in order to do this type of work. And I love that everything is connected, right? It's a beautiful thing. And it can also be the challenge because one thing creates a domino effect and it affects everything else. But the great thing about that is that once you pinpoint that one domino, you can fix everything else, right? It'll just take its place and kind of unfold naturally. So, color and sounds and words, right, are all connected to this energy because I have the belief everything is energy and energy is everything.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, beautifully said. And it's amazing the things when you go in there, you might think that you're stuck in just one place from that thing. Like
Mm,
Shanda was saying, it really is a domino effect. Um, which is why like I look for with a client, we find the original spot that has kept you, because you can peel off layers like an onion,
Yeah.
or you can go deep,
Hmm.
you know, and it can be something that you had no idea what it is that can cause stuff like your anxiety. It can cause stuff like your fear to be so amplified, like Shanda and I keep talking about, step through the fear.
Mm.
You can find some of those things that have created this energy in you, and you feel so stuck. You can't move either way, and you listen to stuff, and Shannon and I are like, well, take this step, and you're like, I can't.
Hmm.
So we can help you with that energy. And like Shanda said, you start scanning your body, and you get to become intuitive, and not, this is where you get to trust your your heart and not your head. When you're scanning your body, you're not like pre-thinking where this is.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. This is all about tapping into our primal way of being and surviving, which is all about gut wisdom.
Mhm.
So, what I mean by here, just really simply, is when you get that feeling, not a thought, like
Mhm.
Carla said, a feeling in your gut that is like, do this, don't do that. That is your gut wisdom. That is that innate wisdom that you are born with. And we all have it. The thing that happens is that we become disconnected from it because we're taught to look outside of ourselves for the answers, for the wisdom, right? We're taught that we don't know how to care and heal ourselves, but that's not true. We do know how to do it. We've just forgotten how to do it, right? We're disconnected with that information and that wisdom. Um, and what I love too, Carla, about what you were saying about finding the root, that is so important. That's definitely the way to go about any type of healing. Sometimes we can skim across the surface and get some results, but eventually you'll want to distill it down and find that root to pluck it out and to heal it, right? Not to pluck it out and get rid of it, but to pluck it out and to heal it and replant it, right? But the other thing to note here, I think, is that that stuckness can move in our body, right? So I think the key indicator is that if you haven't located the root and you're only working on those layers, like Carla was referring to, the onion layers, that's when you're going to find that the pain moves around or the tension moves around. And I used to have that happen to me all the time and I couldn't understand. I'm like, oh, okay, my neck is finally feeling good. I'm ready to go. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, but now my back hurts. Like, what is going on? And it was only because I wasn't able to tap into the root cause of the tension and the block, right? So getting to the root level is really important. And one of the ways that I like to facilitate this is through our thoughts. We can usually access through what we need to heal through our thoughts, right? So connecting in, asking the questions and finding out what that thought is that plays over and over, which is attached to an emotion. So it's like resentment or frustration or anger or fear or whatever it is for you, right? And then being able to intuitively move through it. Because Carl and I will say the same thing, I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't tell you what to do. We don't give you answers, especially for anything like this that is intuitive. Sometimes we might have a process, but we're not giving you answers. The answers are coming from within you, which only just proves furthermore that you are innately intuitive.
Right. Right. We guide you. And that's because we are so disconnected.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you can have processes and gifts. However, if the person who wants to be healed is not learning to trust their own intuition and what your body tells you, and it can bring up, like, what I do is regressions, and I can't tell you what you're going to find in there. I can guide you through, and people find stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, like I've had clients who, they knew what a couch looked like when they were two, and their mom argued till they pulled up a picture. I couldn't have known that. I couldn't have told the client that's what was going to come up that scene, but it was what was keeping them stuck in that space. And so it is when we work with you on clearing your energy, it is a two-person deal. It is you
Mm.
doing your intuition and us guiding you through it. And so the beauty of finding the blocks and learning to let it go is that you can do it yourself. And
Right.
that's what we teach you, is like, we're here to guide you and hold your hand and teach you things. And you can do it every day. I clear my energy and look for blocks daily. I'm sure
Mm.
Shanda does something similar,
Yeah.
you know, because your day feels so much better when you start out that way.
Yeah.
Because when we believe that things have to always happen in a certain way, that's when we get like those triggered moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't do
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
And your body does something, energetic. How do energetic blocks happen? Like, when you have moments of overwhelm in your life, it's it splits, your body splits so that it can let it go,
Right.
right? And it holds those in pockets around your body.
Yeah. This
it's
is,
it's a survival mechanism.
yep. This is the split that I talk about when I talk about disconnection. When we have trauma, and I'm not even talking about big T's here, I'm talking about trauma. So something that affects us moving forward. When we experience trauma or discomfort, we split, like you said, to disconnect
Hmm.
from that pain.
Right.
Right? And it's I mean, there's lots of science around this and some beautiful teachers as well around, like you were saying, Carla, the body, right? How smart and wise our bodies are. Our bodies actually store information, which, the way that I teach it is it's that stored information that creates the block,
Yeah.
right? That then creates the ailment manifesting in physical form. So, like the sore neck, the sore arm, the sore back, or whatever it is, right? The skin problem, like whatever that thing might be for you. And so, listen to your body. Your body will always tell you. Our bodies are our best teacher, right? Like, if we can turn up the volume and actually take a second to listen to what our bodies are communicating, we will learn a lot of some of the things that we can do in order to keep ourselves in balance and in check.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I've learned too through doing this work is that the roots always come from childhood, right? They come from places way, way back that we might have forgotten, we might not even think about. And to prove this point, I had a client this morning and we've been working together for 10, 11 weeks now, and there was something there, and we have been searching around for this one particular thing, and we found it today, and it turns out that it was from her past and she never thought it was something from her past, and up until today, she didn't see it until today, and which we went through a meditation just like this about unblocking personal power. And all of a sudden it was like, wow, there it is. And we didn't just access and find that one. We found two additional ones too, which was really cool. So I want to encourage you to be curious, and furthermore, stay open
Yeah.
to information. Stay open to feedback. And I don't mean just from your body, but also the people in your lives, the people around you, and the situations that are unfolding in front of you. That's all information, right?
Right. And we can I've had many clients who are like, well, my childhood was good, but it has nothing to do
Right.
with good, bad, whatever. You have to think about the fact that it's a baby, a toddler, a young child, and it's their perception of what happened.
Hmm. It's a moment to moment thing, right?
It's a moment to moment thing, and our body gets to a spot, like, it could be something as simple as you were a baby, a storm happened, your parent didn't get to you soon enough.
Yeah.
you know I, it's super simple things. It's not a judgment of parents, or what your childhood was like. So remember that, because people can excuse away what could possibly be happening. So that's one of the reasons why we stay out of your head, because I've had clients who it took longer because they had They held on to this idea of what it was. So
Yes.
they didn't allow themselves to go deeper, and your
Right.
energy gets stuck, and you'll notice like it could be where you don't like to speak in like groups, you don't like to speak to people, you always hold up. And it was something somebody had told you when they just wanted to speak when you were a little child, and has nothing to do with the fact that you have these things to share, and sharing you is beautiful. And so that blocks your energy, and it does manifest as physical, and I've talked about it multiple times. And um I have clients that are like they haven't felt this in their lives, and you go to the doctor and they're like, I don't know what's wrong with you. And I've been there myself, and that's why I speak about my own stuff. I know that I have a block as soon as my hand starts hurting, because I've gotten rid of the rheumatoid arthritis. I don't have symptoms. But if I have hit something where I haven't cleared my energy, where it's stagnant, I can feel it in my body.
Yeah. Ah, I love what you just said about the going to the doctor and the doctor being like, I don't know what's wrong with you, or even somebody saying, what's wrong with you? Even when we say that to our children, right? If they're having a moment or whatever, and we're like, what's wrong with you? Or they're crying and we're trying to figure it out, what's wrong with you? I learned something quite a few years ago, and I was like, ooh, what a powerful reframe, or what a powerful question to ask instead of what's wrong with you. Switch that for what happened to you, because all of our discomfort comes from experiences, which is something that took place and happened. Okay. So I'm not saying something happened to you as in the world is against you. Life is happening for you always, but you had a perceived situation or experience and something happened. The answers are in there. What happened, not what's wrong with you. Right. And I think that's really powerful. Um, and what you were saying about being attached to what we think we know, right? And I say that from from love. So everybody listening, please know that I say that and from personal experience. um, we almost need to be willing to let go of everything as we think we know it right now, today, for what we want to create moving forward. We need to let go of everything, our beliefs, our paradigms, everything needs to go so that we can make room for new stuff. Because if you have a cup that's full of water, there is no room to pour anything else into it, be it good or bad. Okay, I'm using parentheses because, those words are buzzy words. Um, and there was something else that I wanted to say about this. I don't remember what it is, so we'll just continue, but if I think about it, I'll come back to it. But yes, so making the room, being willing to let go the stories, that's what it was, being attached to the story, right? I've heard it too. Clients are like, "Well, I actually had like a really good upbringing." And I'm like, "That is fantastic." And I'm not talking about situations where you might have gotten hit by a parent or a guardian or a loved one. Like Carla was saying, they can be the smallest things as an adult that we see as insignificant, but to a child going through that experience, like you were saying with the storm, or maybe the baby's reaching up for mom or dad, and mom and dad turn to pick up the phone or turn on the TV for just a split second, but they turn away. Those are the moments that shape us. And it sounds ridiculously simple and crazy, but it's so true. And if you need more information around that, go look it up online. There's a lot of research, and if you guys want to know more, go ahead and leave a comment, because I'd be more than happy to share a couple resources that I can think of right off the top of my head about this. So yeah, do your research.
Yes, yes, I agree. And if you're new to energy stuff, I mean, there's lots of Joe Dispenza out there and Bruce Lipton that is newer stuff, but think about the fact that Eastern medicine has been working with energy for a long time. That's
Right.
exactly what acupuncture is.
Yeah.
And they find the meridian where the energy's stuck, and that's where the needles go,
Mm.
right? Because they're releasing they're helping your body release energy that's tied to kidneys, liver, whatever it is that's going on,
Right.
allergies, and so the thing is that we've been taught to disconnect from our body and not feel, not understand all of these things. And the more we're connected with our body, the more we'll understand and we'll feel, and we'll be like, oh, there is something going on. I can tell. And
Hmm.
then we're less likely to make stories around what's going on with us.
Yeah. I think something that I heard recently actually, and I was like, "Oh, this is a beautiful way to help understand or at least lay the foundation for understanding like energy work for anybody who's new." Because I remember when I first started, I had no clue what I was doing or what it was about, but I was just like, "Hey, let's play with this and let's explore and have fun." So I did. And eventually I found the thing and started reading more about it. But what I'm getting at here is that when you think of like the energy side of things, like Carla was saying, the Eastern medicine, right? That stuff, the Chinese medicine, that has to do with the chi,
Mhm.
right? So the energetic field that is in our body. I think we mentioned chakras. Okay, so that's all chi. That's all energy that is actually in alignment with our spine, just like the science side of things. So all of my sciency analytical people might enjoy this. It's comparable to spinal fluid.
Mhm.
Okay. So when your spinal fluid runs freely and flows freely through your spine, and your chi is in alignment and clear of blockages, that is when you find that balance that we all want. But as soon as whether it's the spinal fluid or the chi has a blockage, it creates those domino effects, and you can no longer have that fluid transfer of energy and fluid, right? So that's what creates those blockages, those ailments and disease, like manifest into disease in our bodies, the discomfort. So there's two ways to go about it, right? There's the medicinal side, the science side, but there's also the traditional or energetic work too. And you can fuse both of those together because there is a lot of overlap there, right?
Yes. And that's why when you're having the blockages and it's we're not saying, okay, don't ever go to your doctor. You find your blockages. It is a work together,
Yeah.
and it's the onion thing I was talking about before. If you're just taking one layer away and leaving the other,
Hmm.
then it's still always just sitting there, right?
Right.
And it's like another thing that could be energy blockage is like your weight, all kinds of things in your health.
Hmm.
And this is one that um, people get told you have to do it a certain way. And the reason things don't work for everybody, besides our body and our chemistry being different, is our energy is different. We have
Right.
blocks in different areas for different things. And so it's physical manifestation of what's going on with your energy.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I think maybe it would be super supportive to share tools, modalities, ways to clear, heal, open, expand, um, how to clear these energetic blocks. So let's share some ways for people to be able to go and do that. I know you have your own pocket full of arsenal. I don't
Yeah.
even actually I shouldn't say that. That sounds like really aggressive. How about we say healing tools instead? So I'll go ahead share some of the things that you would recommend that some of our listeners do to try and clear this stuff out.
Okay, so one very good thing to do, and it expands and they've measured this. It expands the electromagnetic field coming from your heart, which, by the
Mm,
way, is much bigger than what comes from your brain.
mm,
And you'll notice that, like, you'll see a lot of in the ancient religions, they're doing this. They're pushing into it's basically where your heart chakra is. And so put your hand there and you slow your breathing just a little bit. I always close my eyes and have my clients close their eyes. You slow your breathing just a little bit and you make your exhale just a tiny bit longer than your inhale. I can give you counts But I want you to know you have to be very conscious. If you're somebody that's just going to focus on the count, that's going to cause you interference. The count is not important.
Hmm.
So you breathe in for about 3 to 4 and then out like a 5 to 6. And I always set a timer for 3 minutes when I do this. And you can do it for however how long feels right for you. And as you're doing that, you start thinking of a moment that makes you feel compassion. A moment, and then as you feel that, you feel it, notice the feeling going throughout your body. And then once you feel like it's gone throughout your body, think about something you're incredibly grateful for. And then you think of something that makes you feel love, deep, compassionate love. And this expands. You can look up, there's lots of people who do it. Joe Dispenza does it, Greg Braden, Heart Math. If anybody has heard of Heart Math does it. There's a lot of different, and they have measured it, and it expands out the energetic field of your heart, which then helps your energy flow out and also keeps some of that negativity that comes up. You don't interact with it.
It's really, really cool. I f- what blah, the way that I found it, or the term that it was told to me and taught to me, was through heart breath, and I love it so much. And like Carla says, if you do it by yourself, you have the power and the capacity to heal big areas around you. And when you can get in community with other people and do this together, you can heal and clear like city blocks. It's insane. And this is one of the things that Buddhist monks do when they're sitting hilltop meditating. They're healing and they're clearing for the world. So this is not some woo-woo thing. Well, I guess it is totally woo-woo, but there's a lot of science, like it's a provable thing, right?
Right.
And so I love that you took a moment there to share that. So yeah, guys, go look that up. And Carla, if you have like another resource that how you want to share it with them, then we can add that into the comments in the links below as well. And I mean, like, there's a plethora of ways to be able to work on this, right? So breathing is a technique. Meditation, visualization, mantras. I made a list here. Journaling, using music, moving your body, eating in a way of nourishment, right? Like eating for nourishment as opposed to eating for, well, I'll say pleasure in a sense. So through food, and then chakra work, which would be like things like essential oils and stones and crystals, right? Grounding outside. We have snow here, so that's a little chilly right now. But I learned something, and I thought this was really interesting that I think is worth sharing around grounding. Um, so we can still ground even when there is cold snow outside or the weather's cold and we don't want to go bare feet, because all you need to do is be connected to the earth beneath you. So if you have, like, I'm going to say staff, but like a stick, like a walking stick, and you have a bare hand, right? If you are holding on to the stick in your bare hand and it's touching the ground, my friends, you are grounded. So maybe start doing your walks with a stick, like a walking pole, and make sure that there's no rubber or anything on the end. It needs to be something that energy can actually flow through without being disrupted. So nothing that stops energy flow, like example, the soles of shoes and rubber and stuff like that. Anyways, so Carla, do you want to add anything to that list of like resources for people to go check out?
Well, and if you're somebody who says, I can't meditate, there is the walking meditation. There
Mm,
is walking and meditating while you walk. That is
right,
another way to get that energy, because your energy is flowing when you're walking.
right.
It just is. And if you go into a meditation, Shanda has talked about the music she listened to and that. So if you're somebody who feels like you're not clearing your head yet when you walk, you can listen to, there's so much stuff on YouTube, Spotify, all of them have the music that helps you get into a meditative state, and you can do
Mhm.
that when you're walking. um I'll have to think of the
Yeah,
different.
well, even to get into a meditative state, it's really getting in that relaxed state, which is what you were doing for the heart math or heart breath, right? Is that breathing. I call it I call it the 5-5-7. So and it could even just be a 5-7 breath. So you're inhaling for 5, pausing at the top, and exhaling for 7. So like Carla had said, the exhale is slightly longer than your inhale, and there's a reason why. And you could walk and just do some breath work, right? And when I do that breath work specifically, like when I try to do any breath work, I like to envision like a wave rolling to help with that consistency of like the inhale, the pause, and then the exhale, right? I find it really helps. Um, but there are so many ways to do these things. They don't have to just be done one way, right? Like breath work is breath work, but there's a gazillion ways to do it. Meditating is meditating, but there's a gazillion ways.
Mhm.
Walking, being out in nature, nature bathing, star bathing, like it's endless.
Right.
So if you're like, "Oh my gosh, I just don't know what to pick," just pick something intuitively. What is jumping out at you? What are you feeling called to try? And do not put the pressure on yourself to try everything. Overwhelm is real. You don't need to try everything. But there are enough resources out there. You absolutely can find things that work for you. So go in with that open mindset and the willingness to try, and you will absolutely find modalities that serve you very well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And trust your intuition. This is where you trust your
Yeah.
intuition. What is the right thing for me? And if you want to see, as Shanda was talking about the monks, if you want to see what I talked about and how it's an ancient world, Greg Braden does talk about it. He has a beautiful video on YouTube that talks about where it comes from and how it's used in all of these religions since ancient times,
Yeah.
because it does really make you connect. And he calls it brain heart coherence. It's called multiple things, but it really is about expanding out. And like Shanda said, as a group,
Hmm.
you know, you can do amazing things, and it's just really beautiful to understand that we can move our energy and make a difference not only in our own body and lives but also in others. And it's about getting past those blockages.
Right. And I think this is such a beautiful way to like wrap this up because that is right there it. What we do impacts everything and everyone around us, whether we know them or don't know them. We're all walking balls of energy, and when we come into other people's spheres, the energy blends and mixes, and some of it gets absorbed and some of it vice versa, right? Is taken. So this is a beautiful example and like science-y way of explaining that or at least proving that to be true, right? So I just say have fun, explore, get your hands on as much information as you feel like you want to explore and just take it moment by moment, take it modality by modality. And like we've both said multiple times, if you guys need guidance and help around how to use these things or maybe more options, reach out, comment below. We're more than happy to get in conversation with you to just discuss what might work for you best wherever you're at.
Right, exactly. And just know that the more you learn to trust your body, the easier it will be to find what works best for you, and what is just like, okay, this really feels right. Because if you continue to stay in your head and try and figure it out that way, then you're going to be overwhelmed, like Shanda was saying.
Yeah. And overwhelm is not a place where we want to be because you know what happens when we sit in overwhelm is that all the things we've worked on, all of those foundational pieces that we've put into place, whether they've been there for a long time or a little bit, they go by the wayside too. Overwhelm kind of stops you in your track. So let's work at moving through overwhelm. And sometimes there's the saying, in order to do more, you have to do less or something like that, right? So what can you let go of and cut out for now? It doesn't have to be forever, but right now, what would serve you to let go of?
Right, right. And as we're one thing I wanted to bring up is this is the same reason why when we give too much to everybody else and they talk about pouring out of an empty cup, it's because you're
Mm,
giving your energy out to others and you're not re-energizing yourself. And it's not just about food or sleep or any of that. We
mm,
are honestly giving out that energy that is ours, and it is so spread thin that we're just full of anxiety, anger, fear, all of that stuff because our energy's tapped out.
yeah. Exactly. Yes. So this is our invitation for all of you listening to make sure that you take care of yourself, mind, spirit, body, soul, energy, everything, right? Everything matters. And I want to encourage your journey to finding that balance for you. Carla, is there anything else that you would like to add to this conversation before we say goodbye?
No, I'm excited to hear what everybody feels and thinks about doing different modalities and what it brings up for them. So
Awesome.
please share
Beautiful.
with us.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. So, thank you all for tuning into our channel from head to heart and home with Carla and I. It's been an absolute blessing to have you here join us today. If you enjoyed our conversation, then make sure that you click that subscribe button below so you don't miss any of our new episodes, which come out weekly. And be sure to join us next week for another connected conversation. All right, guys, bye for now.